What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some new leaks and rumors and news that we have for Chapter 3 Season 4. This video is going to be full of, leaks and spoilers, so if that is something you want to avoid, this is not the video for you. We're going to be going over some of the Battle Pass skins that will be in Chapter 3 Season 4. If you guys do enjoy this video or find it helpful, informative, whatever, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below which of these skins you are most excited to see in Season 4. So I'm sure many of you know, if you've been keeping up with news in the game, that we initially had this image here sticking out of the goo, which we now know is Chrome, that everyone thought was the Paradigm's hand. But we've actually gotten 3 more of these images that point us in the right direction of what some Battle Pass skins might be. So first we have this hand here, which confirms that Gwen Stacy will be coming to the game in Chapter 3 Season 4. It was already heavily rumored and thought that it would be true, but this image here confirms it. And these images are like from Epic, from Nintendo, from Xbox, from PlayStation. They leaked from various sources, and that's pretty much always the way it goes with leaks when it gets to these new seasons. So this isn't just some random like 4chan post or anything like that. These promo materials are real, and this confirms that Gwen Stacy will be coming to the game in Chapter 3 Season 4. The next hand we have here is from the Goth Meowscles skin, which is another skin that we already thought would be coming to the game in Season 4, and we already had previous leaks and rumors that this would be included in next season's Battle Pass, but this just further confirms it once again. And then finally, we have this hand here, which belongs to this kind of generic survey skin character. I'm not really sure who this is or what their name is, but this skin will also be in next season's Battle Pass. And there's also 4 more skins that will be in the Battle Pass that we don't know based on these teasers. So if these skins aren't something you really care for, that's fine, but we'll likely be getting a version of Paradigm, which is pretty cool because there's only one Paradigm skin in the game currently, and I believe you had to get that in Season X, and if you didn't get it then, it just hasn't returned since then. So finally, if you are someone who collects the 7 members, you'll be able to get the Paradigm skin, the Gwen Stacy skin, the Goth Meowscles, and then that other survey skin that we talked about. So that's pretty huge. We know half of the Battle Pass skins, essentially, and there's still 4 more that we don't really know what they're going to be, but I'm sure they'll be interesting skins in the Battle Pass. The next piece of information we have comes from a competitive announcement, and this is the teaser image they used for that announcement. Sometimes these images contain clues of what we'll see in the next season, sometimes they don't, but we're going to go into what is shown on this image and assume that maybe this confirms some of these items will be in Season 4. So what we have on this image is we have an ATK, we have the guided missile launcher, we have the combat AR and the shockwave. So this could potentially confirm that the shockwaves and the combat AR are staying for next season. And this could confirm the return of the ATK and the guided missile launcher. The ATK would be an interesting choice. This, in my opinion, was probably the most balanced vehicle they've ever had in the game. And it was one of the first vehicles, if not the first vehicle, depending on whether or not you count the shopping cart as a vehicle. But the ATK was perfect, in my opinion. You could use it to travel around the map and get from point A to point B faster, but you couldn't really run people over with it. You couldn't crash through builds, and you couldn't just straight run from a fight and decide that that fight isn't happening because it wasn't that fast. It was faster than walking for sure, but it wasn't like the person was just going to zip out of your point of view that quickly. If you were shooting at them, you were probably going to hit some shots, and it made it, in my opinion, the perfect vehicle because you would use it to get around the map, but once you got to an area you wanted to be in, or once you got to a person, you would get out and fight them. Another reason why you couldn't just run from fights with it is because you were really exposed in it. When you're in a car, you're often protected from several different angles, but with the ATK, you were exposed from pretty much every angle, and that made it to where you couldn't just decide a fight isn't happening using this vehicle. And that's one of the things I like about having the animals as transportation in Fortnite. You can use it to get around the map faster, but you can't just straight run from somebody and decide a fight isn't happening unless the person you're playing against has very bad aim. And the same is true if we do end up getting motorcycles at some point. I was excited to see those come to the game for the same reason. I like for there to be a decent risk reward with the vehicles and not just yeah, you can get in this and decide fights aren't happening. So I personally would be really happy to see the ATKs return. It's just kind of weird though, because why would they put this in the game if they have cars in the game? The cars would just be strictly better vehicles. So would cars be removed, or would they have this and cars? That kind of seems redundant. We'll have to see how it plays out, but we could end up seeing the return of ATKs and maybe the removal of cars, because there's not much need to have cars in the game. Or there's not much need to have ATKs in the game if you have cars. So we'll see how it is. And then the next thing is the guided missile launcher that is shown in this image. The guided missile launcher hasn't been in the game for a really long time. I think since like season 5 or 6. Like, it has been many years since this item was in the game. And I personally don't think this would have too large of an impact on the game. Even in early 2018, when it was first added, people were good at building against this weapon, and the average player could build in such a way to where the guided missile launcher was irrelevant. Like, some people claimed it was OP, but if you had any idea what you were doing, this weapon was irrelevant. It was mainly just kind of like a meme or troll item. Some people would kind of like self-rocket ride themselves with it, but it wasn't like this was the meta that you had to use. So I don't think it would impact the gameplay too much in that regard. Maybe they've made some changes to it, but maybe in zero build, it could also be somewhat useful for scouting areas, destroying bushes from afar, third-partying fights from afar. I could see it getting pretty annoying for that reason, but the rocket traveled really slowly. It was somewhat easy to dodge. If you had any sort of mobility, you'd be able to get away from it fine. I think you could maybe even shoot the rockets. I could be wrong on that, but I think you could just shoot the rockets out and destroy them. So while many people would probably be afraid of seeing this in the game or think it's going to be OP, I never really thought the guided missile launcher was that good. It was like maybe usable against people you were going to kill anyways. Kind of like how the charge SMG is now. Like, you can use that weapon in fights, but most of the fights you get wins with the charge SMG, you were probably going to win regardless. The next things we have is information from the actual comp announcement that this image was for. I'm not going to go too far into this because I don't really pay much attention to comp, but I thought there would be some things that you guys might be interested in. There's not going to be any FNCS this season. There's going to be a new divisional tournament system where you can move up or down the ranks based on how you do in the tournaments. And this sounds like a much better version of like a ranked mode. There will be zero build cups next season, but there's no mention of zero build arena. The only arena modes they mention that will be in the game next season are solos, duos, trios, and then late game solos and trios. And so late game arena will be staying next season. That's good. A lot of people love that game mode, and it came really late in this season, so it would have been kind of unfortunate if it just came for the end of Season 3 and then it was gone. And arena points will be reset at the start of next season, which is a huge change. They've been resetting it like midway through the season sometimes and having like a preseason for the first few weeks of arena, which is, in my opinion, pointless. I feel like every season, when the season starts, everybody's arena rank should reset, and then you grind up through the ranks in the new season. And the reason why this would matter to you, even if you are someone who doesn't care about comp at all and doesn't play arena, is arena resetting day 1 could make a lot of the really sweaty players play that instead of pubs. Whereas how they've been doing the preseasons, there was no reason for people to grind arena day 1 because they just kept their arena points from last season until Epic reset it like a few weeks in. So now day 1, all the arena grinders and the people that really care about like getting high arena points will be grinding that day 1 of the new season, and they are less inclined to be playing public matches. So your public matches at the start of the season might be a little bit less sweaty than they were at the start of last season. So even if you don't play comp, that is a good change for you. Like I said, that's just a brief overview of what was in that comp announcement. It will be linked down below if you want to read it word for word if you are someone who's really interested in comp. And then the final thing we're going to talk about in this video is that Epic are testing the second major update of Season 4 already, and they've been testing it for several days. I don't really know how leakers get this information on what updates Epic are testing and like rolling out, but they're already working on the second major update of Season 4, and typically the way the game goes is there's like a major update 1 week, and then the off week there's like a hot fix where you don't really have to download the update, but they maybe like unvault a weapon or make a minor map change, something along those lines. And then the week after that there's another major update. So they're basically a month already in advance of how many updates are in Season 4. So this doesn't really matter too much, but it should mean that we have a nice steady rollout of content and that there aren't any delays or like problems with Season 4 if they're already working on the second major update of Season 4. For like reference point, we just got the 5th major update of this season a few weeks ago. So I think on August 30th. So yeah, there's usually 4 or 5 major updates a season. Next season will probably be 4 major updates since it's going to be a shorter season. So they're already halfway done with everything they need to do for Season 4. So it should be a very like steady season without any major delays or problems, hopefully. But that is going to be it for today's video. Not too much information we have about Season 4. Not any too much new information aside from the Battle Pass skins, which I know a lot of you will be super excited to see the Battle Pass skins. But we're only 3 days away from the launch of the new season, so we're getting super close. Let me know in the comments below which Battle Pass skin you think is the best of the ones we've seen. Would you like to see the ATK return? What do you think of the guided missile launcher? Let me know all that down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.